Hi friends, this is part 2 of my altered book cover series, I guess. I think there might be 3 or 4 parts to this, I'm not quite sure yet. But I've allowed everything to dry, and as you can see, that's where I let the ink just puddle up and dry completely. And I really love that, the way that it has so much texture to it. I hope the camera can pick that up. But it's completely dry now, so what I'm going to do is I'm using my black Stabilo and I am going to try and search for a figure. So this is going to be the front and this is going to be the back, and I think I'm going to place a face over here like that. And this here is going to be her neck. And I'm not sure I like that line over there. So the great thing about the Stabilo is you can just dip like a paper towel in water and you can just wipe it right off. And it's really great for those first marks where you're not really sure where your lines and marks are going to be. So I kind of want to go like that. And I think for the back cover, I'm gonna draw 3 figures. I'm not really sure, but I want it to be, I think I'm gonna draw 3 figures kind of joined. I don't know, that's kind of what I'm feeling, but I'm not really sure at this point. So we're just gonna make some marks here. And like so. And I think I want the back to be like different than the front, like a different color scheme and everything, but I don't want it to be like one whole like a cohesive picture, if that makes sense. So I want the back and the front to be different for this book. I don't know why, I'm just kind of feeling it at this point. So we will see where this goes. Okay, so I'm going to, right away, I'm gonna work on her face. So I'm gonna add some of this Liquitex transparent burnt sienna ink, and I'm gonna mix it with the chalk paint. And because all my figures tend to be brown, that's why I use the Liquitex burnt sienna. But obviously, you know, if you wanted to use a different color because of the figure that you're painting, then obviously you would use a different color. So that's why I use a burnt sienna, and I absolutely love the burnt sienna. It's just such a rich color. I love it. So I'm just gonna kind of do that, and I'm gonna use the same burnt sienna on the faces in the back. But other than that, everything else is going to be different, I'm thinking. Okay, so what I want to do with this is I want to introduce some blues in here, and it's looking really kind of busy and messy right now. So I want to retain this orange part right here. So I think I'm gonna just add some blues to the top of that line. And even though there are some parts of this upper part that I do like, I am going to cover everything up. And that's kind of, sometimes you just have to do that. Like sometimes the stuff you like just gets covered up because it doesn't serve the whole of the painting. And so those little pieces they have to go. We have to say goodbye to them, but they're still there. That's the way I look at it. Every mark that you make on the page, every layer is still there, even if it doesn't show through. It's still there, and it still lends to the painting, or to the page, I should say. But I'm just gonna cover all of this up here. And now some of that blue bled into the face, and that's totally fine. And I'm just gonna leave it like that. And so this is only the second layer now that I think about it. And so I can even add more collage over top of this once this dries. It's just however many layers you want to make, that's totally up to you. And you know, sometimes when you're doing a page, you might want to put 5 layers, and sometimes you might want to put 2 layers. So it just is all dependent on the artist and also, you know, what you're trying to create. So I am really feeling that. And now what I'm gonna do is, I said that I wanted to keep the front cover and the back cover separate, in the sense I didn't want it to be cohesive, but now I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna bring some of this blue in here because it needs some cools anyways. So I'm just gonna bring some blues in here. And okay, so I am going to let this dry. I'm not going to use my heating tool. I'm just gonna let it dry naturally. And I think what I'm gonna do is I am going to use this cashew in chalk paint. I'm gonna use it for the background of the back cover here. I'm just kind of thinking that that's what it needs. So I am going to and I still want some of this background to show through. I don't want to cover it all up like I did with the blue over here. So I'm just gonna kind of drag it down there. So doing that made the figures really kind of pop out there. So I think that I'm going to keep this cashew color here. And basically this is just about making decisions. You know, am I going to keep this? Am I going to let this show through? And that's what I do with all my layers. It's just a constant deciding what I'm going to add, what I'm going to cover up, what I'm going to push, what I'm going to pull. So okay, there we go. So that's just the first layer. And I'm really kind of liking that, the feel of this. I'm really liking it already. And I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the bodies because it's too busy. So I think, even though I want to retain like some of these patterns and marks, I think I'm gonna add a wash over top of it just to make it look like, so it's not so busy, and to kind of like pull all of it together into the dresses. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some ink. I think I'm gonna use a green. So this is Bombay India ink in grass green. And I think what I'm gonna do, okay, so I'm just gonna drop that in there, and then I'm gonna use water and just like water it down. So see, you can see the background, you can see the layers underneath, and you can see all those beautiful lines and marks, but it makes it a cohesive piece. So it's looking like it's a dress, or, you know, just a piece of fabric. So I think so I'm gonna, so I think I'm happy with that right now. And this is going to be a red, or maybe this is going to be a red. I'm going to make this red. And this over here is Liquitex ink in, I can't see because there's paint covering some of it, but it's a crimson. I'm not sure what, there's a word in front of it, but it's covered up with paint, so I can't see it, but it's some kind of a crimson, and it's Liquitex ink. And there we go. Okay. And I think the middle one, I want to put a yellow maybe. And I always have a couple of jars of clean water because when I'm painting, like I would always want to have clean water. I don't want to have to, well, especially not when I'm recording a video, but even when I'm normally painting, I like to have a few jars of clean water rather than constantly having to go and fill up a jar. That's just me. So I always have 3 or 4 jars of clean water off to the side. And I feel like I'm getting too fussy with this, and I don't want to. I want to kind of keep it loose, but I kind of am getting a bit fussy with it at this point, and I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna stop. Okay. So we're gonna move back onto here, and I like the blue, but now I gotta figure out what to do with this bottom part because I'm not really feeling it. So I think what I'm gonna do is use a cashew, and I want to keep that orange and I want to keep this green part, but I think everything else I'm gonna cover it up with a cashew. And okay, we're still in our, second layer, so I don't have to like it at this point. I'm liking parts of it, but I don't know. I'm not really happy with it overall, but it's okay. It's only the second layer, so I'm going to maybe give the faces some dimension here. And I'm really liking how that blue bled into the face. I'm really loving that part. And I want to use some Liquitex there. And I want to bring some of that Liquitex into her neck. And now I need some of this red just to kind of okay. So what I need to do now is I am going to use a really dark, I'm not sure if I'm going to use a marker or a pencil, but I am going to kind of define some of the lines here, and I actually might use a pen, which I don't know what kind of a pen I want to use. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is just use a regular pen. This is just a Velocity pen that I use to journal and write, and it's just on my desk here, so I'm just going to use it. And I just want to go over all these marks because I want these marks to pop. So this is all wet, so I'm not gonna put my pen on there, but I am gonna go over here and just kind of make some marks here. Now I can't do it everywhere I want to because if I put it over wet paint, it's really not going to do anything. So I have to wait for this whole thing to completely dry. So this is going to be part 2. I have to let all of this dry, and then I'm going to come back and work on it some more, see if I want to add some more collage on top of it and build up more layers. So this is the end of part 2 for my altered art book cover, and I hope you're following along, and I hope this video was useful to you in some small way. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Bye.